afternoon, and thank you for joining us at Chicat TV. And we are going to speak to you today with regards to our free certification training. My name is Trudy Merrick, and I am the Recruitment and Admissions Coordinator for Chicat's Adult Education Program. And today, I am going to be speaking with our Lab Quality Control Technician Instructor, Kalia Slaw. Hi, Kalia.
Hi, Trudy.
So we have some exciting things going on, and one of the classes that I really enjoy enrolling students in is our Lab Quality Control class, primarily because it's an industry that not everybody knows anything about. It's very unique, and it's very, very in demand. Wouldn't you say?
It is. Like the demand for, if you go on Indeed or any other job boards right now, all you see is quality technician. So the department has definitely grown over the years.
Yes, it's a quietly kept essential role in manufacturing.
Definitely.
But we've had to figure out how to explain it and glamorize it for our students, because most people that enter into the quality field, they stumble into it, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I certainly did.
Yeah. So we are, again, the Chicago Center for Arts and Technology, and we're located at 1701 West 13th Street, near the Medical District of Chicago. Ashland and Roosevelt is the best way to know where we are. And if you are interested in signing up for some training for adults, you can reach us at 312-773-1701, as well as our youth program. We have arts and technology for our youth as well, middle school to high school. So we're going to get down and dirty with more information about our quality training, which focuses in the manufacturing industry and focuses on food manufacturing specifically. So can you tell us a little bit about the class and what a candidate could expect for themselves?
So basically, in my food quality technician course, you get the basics of what it is to be a technician, what your day-to-day would look like. You get some certifications. You learn a lot about food, because we know what food is. We think we know everything about it, but you get into the nitty-gritty of the production of it, how we make sure we get our products out safely, those rules, those parameters, those certifications, basically to make sure that your families are safe.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And it's amazing the pathways you can take.
Absolutely.
Not only are you the person that can go into this entry level of being that quality control technician, but you can go into so many other things like a quality assurance technician, a food safety specialist, a quality assurance auditor. You can just go into multiple areas of product quality control, because some of the things that you're teaching them can also translate into other industries, correct?
Absolutely. Because it's food safety primarily. You learn a lot of the food safety. That's our job, is to make sure things get out safely, right? If you say wanted to work in a restaurant industry or carry these certifications on, because basically if you're working in restaurants, it's manufacturing on a smaller scale, but it's directly to the customer right then and there. So those HACCP principles that we learn in our class, that you get that certification, those are also out in the world in your regular restaurants, in your hospital cafeterias, and other areas of that nature, because the entire mission is, again, to make sure we're getting food safely out to the masses. So, and a lot of the foundations are there, like say, for instance, you have time and temperature controls that translates into your home kitchen, the restaurant environment, also, and the food manufacturing process. So that's a main thing. And then you just obtain all of this knowledge that you just didn't know. And it's everyday things. It's like, oh, I didn't know that. Like, we had a whole conversation in class about milk. Yeah. And how you store it and what a sell by versus a use by versus a best by code on that product that you have means. You know, a lot of people don't know that you can hold milk an additional 7 days after you purchase it as long as you refrigerate accordingly. They just have to sell it and get it out of the store by the date stated. So small things like that.
Well, that's very interesting because that starts, it starts before the manufacturer.
Absolutely.
Even. You know, because the provider of the material for production, there has to be some tracking to that and understanding of that.
Absolutely. So what that basically is, and this is something else that you will learn in my class, you have to have traceability. We need to know where that product comes from beginning to end. So we have to have traceability of each individual ingredient in case that something happens. It could be maybe someone did get sick, or maybe it was an ingredient that was off. So those lot dates, those codings, it has to go back to the beginning. So we keep track of everything from beginning to the end. And again, that's for our safety and to ensure the quality of the products.
And some of the program highlights, of course, you'll have an introduction to food science and quality. And that is where they will learn that whole dynamic of how food engages with itself.
Absolutely.
And how you can ensure that you're not contaminating a whole lot because you learn that whole concept, correct?
Yeah, it's all about safe handling. Ensuring that, it goes to what we call general manufacturing practices. These practices are in place, and they cover things like uniform, bloodborne pathogens, and that's something as simple as how you handle a person that's bleeding and you protect yourself first. It covers, you shouldn't have rhinestones on your uniforms. You should always wash your hands, especially after you're eating. Even if you're handling allergen control is another part and a dynamic of that, because we all know peanut is a major, major allergen. It's probably the most dangerous. So even how you handle that within a facility, we go over that. And now, it used to be the big 8, now it's the big 9 allergens. So you get that, and you also get a certification at the end of that lesson to have and to put on your resume and to give you a leg up in the industry.
Now, what is the big 9?
So the big 9 are your major 9 allergens. So your wheat, soy, shellfish, milk, peanuts, tree nuts, coconut is included. A lot of people don't know coconut is actually nut and it's an allergen.
Excellent.
Your dairy. Sesame is the one that was added.
Okay.
Sesame wasn't always an allergen. It was considered an allergen in European countries and Canada. United States just put that on our major allergen list as well. The one to look forward to will be mustard. And then you have your fish and your soy.
Mustard.
See, look at that. Yeah, see, you're learning something even in this interview, right?
Absolutely.
So some people do have a certain sensitivity to mustard seed, also to certain sulfites. So there's a lot of other allergens on that list, but the 9 major are the ones that we just addressed right here.
And a manufacturer has to keep all of that in mind, and there has to be a department and a group of people that ensures that that is being handled properly.
Absolutely, and that's where quality comes in, right?
Absolutely.
So the way I describe quality is we learn the rules, we interpret the rules, and then we go out and we make sure everyone not only knows the rules, but that they're following the way that they should be.
Excellent.
So we're the regulators. I also define quality department as the nucleus of any manufacturing company, whether it's food or any other product that has to be manufactured, because everything has to go through quality. From security to deliveries to even customer service in the front office. We have our hands in everything within a department. So you really can't run without having a quality department.
Absolutely. That gives you great peace of mind about what you're experiencing when you go shopping in the grocery. Because let's face it, as regular consumers, we're not always thinking about that. And it doesn't pop forward until a tragedy happens.
Until a tragedy happens.
We don't want a tragedy to happen.
No.
And you can, with this class, be involved in ensuring that the public doesn't have that to encounter.
Right. So that's the whole purpose of a quality department. It's the prevention of it. Mm-hmm. So it may be things that go on that you guys don't know about because our job is to catch those things before it gets out there. So,
Excellent.
Yeah.
So the other program highlights we have, you're going to learn a little bit about food chemistry, a little bit about microbiology and toxology, capstones and new product development. Because, as I understand it, that's what your class's final project is.
Yes. So the final project for the end of this wonderful Chicat experience is a simulated manufacturing process from beginning to end. So it goes everywhere from them developing the product, writing the rules and regulations that go along with that product. So it's basically telling you this is what you should test for, this is what it should look like. Then they have one of their counterparts actually following their instructions. So that's our batch ticket.
Okay.
So it's the recipe. So the idea is for someone else to be able to follow your process. So they will be the mixer, the packers, and then you'll have someone else out there basically approving that. So that's where your line checking, your pre-op, and your standard operating procedure comes into play as well.
Excellent.
So they have to do all of this for their own project.
Nice.
Product. It's the project for their product.
Well, I did hear something about a recipe. So
Yes.
that is very unique in that not everybody knows how to write one.
Yes.
You can follow one in most cases, but writing one is got to be fun and complicated.
Well, I'm not going to act like it's all rainbows and unicorns. It's definitely a process, but again, that is something I give you the tools for in class. We literally go through together, and not only do I show an example, but we walk through the actual process and write it out. So I have everyone inputting and, telling me what they think should be next or how it sounds. And then I just correct and tweak a little bit because it's kind of hard to just sit in front of someone and just talk. So you got to get them involved.
Right.
So that it soaks in because you will be doing these things every single day.
Which is one of the reasons why we are so thankful that our classes are structured in a cohort format, because it permits you to engage and interact and work with your fellow students as you would in an office or a work environment.
Absolutely.
So it's a constant learning process for 6 months. You've got 600 class time hours. Is it 600? Yes.
Yes. Which translates into a 6-month program.
You'll be coming to class from 8:30 to 2:30 each day, and you are going to be engaged constantly because the highlights never end. Like you're going to be doing food safety management, food laws and regulations, food engineering and processing, and then you get to the major important one, in my opinion, recalls and product hold procedures.
Yes.
These are things that are government standards. You're going to be learning things that you can take out of the manufacturing industry and bring into the auditing process or in the inspection process. There's just a tremendous amount of pathways you can take with this.
Absolutely.
So that food safety component, that also can leap you into the restaurant or to
inspections, inspection jobs with the health department, being an auditor. Auditing is a huge part of the quality position. So you're auditing on a regular basis. You're checking behind people. You're making sure that paperwork gets filled out, not only filled out correctly, turned in. There's pre-op checks every single morning or every time a line runs. There's a monthly audit where you're checking for major infractions and making sure everything's where it's supposed to be. You have a brittle plastic audit, and that is the one where you have to document every single button on every piece of equipment. Because you need to know, things happen in the food business. A pin cap can fall into something, a button can fall into something, a metal detector can miss something. Someone may not have put a screen in place that would catch these things sometimes. So the auditing process is an ongoing, regular process within the quality department.
Yeah, and because the machines are moving so fast, you have to really, really be on your game.
Absolutely.
Constantly. But that's not to say nothing can ever happen, even in the best environments.
Yeah. It's all training, right?
Yes.
So the main thing that the quality department is also in charge of is other employee training. So we have to know what we're doing in order to make sure other people know what they're doing and to teach them what they're doing. And in a case when they don't know, be able to correct it if they do something wrong. So that looks like your PPE training, which is your personal protective equipment. Again, the bloodborne pathogen. Forklift safety. OSHA training, which we also gain a certification of OSHA 10 within the quality class. Other trainings would be including that GMP training, because what happens is, for us to pass our audits, when we have the certification body comes in that allows us to be able to serve the public, these things have to be in place. We have to prove that we've trained our employees to the standard that we have to basically match up against. And you want the highest standards, you want the highest quality, you want the highest safety rates. Anything that happens at all, including, hey, if I twist my ankle, even though it may not have been while I was on the line, I could have been in lunch, that's a report that has to be made to OSHA.
Safety.
Safety is like, well, it's quality and it's safety. Those are the major two things that we pride ourselves on in the quality department.
Can you tell us the difference between quality assurance and quality control?
I'll be honest with you.
If there's a difference.
It's not much of a difference. The company that I came from, that I worked for 15 years, one of my coworkers called us the question and answer department. So we were actually called quality assurance and quality control. We're assuring the quality, but we're also making sure that we keep it under control. So it's interchangeable, really, in my opinion.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because when you say that you're being careful and you're making sure that you're training your other coworkers to be careful about X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
Again, it's not like anything can happen because we all are familiar with recalls and product holds.
Absolutely.
And what is the process for that?
So when it comes to a recall, this is why we have to make sure we document every single thing. So we call it, it's almost like the flow of food in the regular food industry. We document it when it where it comes from. So before we even approve these ingredients, we have what's called supplier approval. So just like in the restaurant industry and manufacturing, you have to get your items from approved, reputable suppliers. And so we make sure they're checking all their boxes. Have they been inspected? Have they been cited for anything? Where are they getting their ingredients from? Do they have all of this information on hand if we need that?
Because they have a Q&A process as well.
Absolutely. No one can really run without that quality department.
So it is an essential component in any organization.
Oh, yeah.
So, as I said, quiet as it's kept, quality control is paramount.
It is.
And our program is unique in the Chicagoland area.
Absolutely.
Because there's not many, if, any.
I mean, this program being an accelerated program that gets you right to the door does not exist. anywhere else in the Chicagoland area. I can't speak for the rest of the country, but I do know that here, this is a very unique opportunity. A lot of times you have to go straight into a food science program and a college course.
Okay.
And then you get your degree and all of this stuff. You may be able to earn a certificate here or there through those programs, but the great thing about our food safety lab technician course here at Chicago Center for Arts and Technology is you get this knowledge that because the industry is moving so fast and growing so much more than what it was before. Like, for instance, I at first would have 2 months to have the technician under my training to all the way down to 3 days. Because you got to keep moving. The quality department in itself has expanded. You need more help, more people on the ground. And so now what my program will do will give you all of those basics to be able to work across this industry to where once you are hired in your position, they basically just give you that actual facility training.
Yes. Excellent, which saves a great amount of time.
With
regards to how you can start elevating yourself in an organization, because you're going in with knowledge that would take, an additional year, 6 months to gain before you can really apply everything. So having this class and then working with us to be employed or externship with our partners, you are headed for a healthy, robust career path that you could find yourself in areas you would not have normally been had you not taken this class.
Yeah.
Because not everybody wants to invest 4 years or even 2 years because of their lifestyle or because of the demands upon them to work. So we do recognize that things have been greatly adjusted, but one thing about the manufacturing industry, it still remains to be a 24-hour industry.
Absolutely.
There is no time for downtime in manufacturing. So you would be, in the best position to be a part of continuing to make that work.
Oh, yeah, and especially when it comes to HACCP. HACCP opens the doors for other certifications, right? Because you have your regular HACCP. But what a lot of people don't know is they think it's just one HACCP program. There are different types of HACCP that address certain facets of the industry. So you'll have a juice HACCP, you'll have a dairy HACCP, you'll have a general HACCP. And then the great thing about Chicat is you're able to get that training here and you get it for free. And so therefore you're already where you may need to be. Say you want to become an SQF practitioner. SQF is Safe Quality Food certifying body that allows you to get into major companies.
Wow.
It's a global initiative. You already have the HACCP. You have to have HACCP. You have to have advanced HACCP in order to even take that course. You're already in the door with that. So it's an advantage to the company that you go and work for because that's one less thing they have to send you out for. In order to have that HACCP certification, it has to be through an accredited program.
And we're accredited.
We're accredited.
We are very proud to say we are accredited by the Illinois Board of Higher Ed. So yes, absolutely, you will receive this national certification, because that's the other thing that's a benefit to our certifications, is that you don't have to stay in the Illinois area. If you feel that you want to leave Illinois with your certification and continue to build your pathway, you can do that with your certification.
Oh yeah, it goes with you. It does not expire. So the best thing you can do is you just expand on it.
Yes.
But your knowledge is your knowledge. I've even taken what I've learned in my courses and spilled that over into my own classroom. I mean, it's so much the resources of information that you have access to, like FDA website, USDA website. All of these websites offer all of this information that not only helps you in the classroom, but will help you at home. And a lot of people don't realize that that piece of information is always available to the public.
Absolutely. But you have to know where to go.
You have to know. And so that's another thing you get to learn in my class.
Where to go, what to look for,
How
and
to
how
find
to
it.
interpret it.
That's right. And how to even the smallest things are what do I put in the search bar in order to pull up this information?
Yes.
Like we literally sit in class and just look up stuff, throw it out. This is how you do a search because you never know. In that quality class, your boss might say, hey, I need you to request some documents from this company or that company. And if they're not answering that phone or the number you have is not the correct number, you never know. They may have changed their email domain or their phone numbers or information. Sometimes people leave and go to other places.
Yes.
So you no longer have that contact that you had. And ideally, we would love for all the supplier approval information to be accurate and correct, but that's not always the case. So you may have to go out there yourself and contact these people. So how do we do that? Where do we look? How do we send that contact information over? We can even go over that as well.
Being informed.
Being informed.
Being informed is very major in any industry, but definitely in this industry. So, this is wonderful information. I'm sure that your students have been really excited and engaged with what you share, especially because you're not only coming with education, but you're coming with experience.
Oh, yeah. I've worked in actually the sauce and beverage co-packing manufacturing industry. I started at a small family-run business, and we went from having 1 shift a day to 3 shifts and running 6 days a week. I went from a 2-person department. By the time I left, I had 8 employees under me.
Nice.
Outlasted 3 quality managers. So everything that I do comes from experience. I started off as an assistant. We know assistants, if you're needed, you're there. If you're not, you go home. And it wasn't on purpose. I was laid off and I needed a job. And I got in there and was just a ball of information. I walked in day 1 performing audits. And you just constantly learning. And even the technology within the industry has evolved tremendously. So we went from having everything done manually to by the time I left, they had robots.
Excellent.
So yes, definitely an industry that you can get into and even retire from if you want.
Yes, and actually, because so many people are becoming entrepreneurs, I'm sure it's a great industry to be a consultant in.
Oh, yeah. The possibilities are definitely out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, remember us, the Chicago Center for Arts and Technology. We're Chicat, and we are offering free, no cost, scholarship certifications for adults. So if you want to enroll in our program, you can contact me, Trudy Merrick. I am the Recruitment and Admissions Coordinator, and you can reach us at 312-773-1701, or you can drop by our location at 1701 West 13th Street, Chicago, Illinois. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. And I hope this was very informative, and we do hope to hear from you. Right, Kalia?
Absolutely. Come on down and check me out.
You have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.